Yeah.
Oh
Welcome
man.
to another episode of Give and Go, the NBA show. I'm your host, Dante Williams, and co-hosting the show with me today is my brother, Jimmy Williams.
Yes, sir.
How you feeling, man? It's been a while since we yeah, we did an episode.
People been asking for this for a little minute now. So it's about time we spent the block and ran it back.
Yeah, for real though. But yeah, guys, welcome to another episode. Man, it's been a lot going on. First, I want to say congrats to Denver Nuggets for winning the NBA championship.
Mm.
The most dominant team throughout the season. Um, Definitely in the playoffs. They took out four of the best teams in the league. Congrats to the Miami Heat, from the East, respectively. They were the underdogs and throughout the whole playoffs. It was interesting. We seen the rise of Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray coming off that ACL injury. Like, what did you think? Like, are they path getting to that championship? Just them as a team itself. Like, what did you see that was different?
Well, them being number one team in the West, they were the team to beat in the West. So everybody under them was trying to take them out. So I mean, they went through the Lakers. They didn't go through the Warriors, but the Lakers beat the Warriors. So they went through the Lakers, who was supposed to have the best defensive team since the trade deadline. Um, who else did they play?
Knicks, uh,
They played who?
Phoenix,
Phoenix, yeah.
Minnesota. I think.
Phoenix, Chris Paul got hurt. So but the Suns they didn't have enough. They didn't have a good enough bench. And I think they played Timberwolves the first round, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and that was easy work for them. Anybody could beat Timberwolves. Um, but actually, I feel like Timberwolves had like the best matchup as far as like size, personnel. They
I
just
mean, at least the Timberwolves got a game. The Lakers ain't win one game. So hey, I mean,
we ain't gonna talk about that right now, man.
and
Lake fans watch the show, man. But hey, it is
yeah,
what it is. They came out on top. Um, they were dominant all year. Jokic, runner up from MVP, probably should have been an MVP. Looking back at it now, Jamal Murray definitely showed that he's a superstar in this league. Um, got a lot of respect for Jamal Murray. And then they had guys like Aaron Gordon on the defensive side, Carwell Pope shooting, playing defense. Then Michael Porter, um, he was consistently around the 10 to 15 points a game and still had some defensive stops. And then they had Bruce Brown coming off the bench, playing defense, shooting. Jeff Green, veteran, coming off, giving them some minutes. And they had the rookie, I can't remember his last name, but number 6 on Denver. So
Christian Brown. Okay,
yeah, they had a lot of from top to bottom. They roster, they was solid, very solid.
yeah. The most important thing, or the most exciting thing, I should say, about the off season is like trades. Free agency coming up.
Free agency, yes sir.
Uh,
The
Mind you, free
draft,
agency starts this Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern time, I believe.
I cannot wait.
But prior to free agency, I don't think I've seen trades immediately happen after the season probably just ended. The new collective bargaining agreement. So a lot of teams are
Hmm.
not trying to get to that second apron. They basically been talking about, which is basically the hard cap. So
Yeah, and it's a lot of so. I'm glad you went into that because it's a lot of people that don't understand. Like, for instance, the John Collins trade.
yeah, let's talk about that for a second.
It
John
was a
with
yeah. Go
Utah
ahead.
and Rudy Gay for a second round pick. So yeah, you can get into that.
Yeah, I mean it. So for everybody who don't understand why they did that, it was a salary move. It wasn't nothing to do with they got Rudy Gay back. Like what type of they did it for a salary dump. Like so looking at the salary cap right now, um the Hawks, they are let me see. I just had the Hawks are like 34 million in the negatives, which
Mm-hmm.
mean they over. So of course they was paying John Collins probably around uh at least over 100 mil. I think if I remember correctly on his extension.
Yeah.
So that was a salary move. I mean, the Jazz they got like 43 million in cap space, and the Hawks are 34 in the negatives. So it was a salary move. They got a second round draft pick. They got a player back, but the offers for John Collins wasn't going to be that high because teams aren't trying to take that salary unless they just swapping players. So you probably going to see a lot of trades or a lot of signing trades around free agency because teams trying to get under that cap. But some teams, like the good teams, who the owners don't care about paying uh, millions and millions of dollars in the negatives, that's just gonna pay it if we winning. Like Denver, for instance, they are already at 59 million negative. Uh, so if the owner is willing to just pay that and just say, I don't care, we winning championships, then I mean, I guess it don't really matter. But some teams who are bad or not as good and they 30, 40 million negatives, they probably looking to make some roster changes, do a lot of signing trades, and like you said, for the as far as the bargaining agreement, it's gonna be hard to have like at least 3 all stars on your team now because the cap is different. So
Yeah, and speaking of cap, another team that made a trade that shocked the world was Golden State, and that trade for Chris Paul for Jordan Poole. And a lot of people got to realize, for one, the relationship between Jordan Poole and Draymond was not going to get better going forward.
yeah, he knocked the playoff spirit out that man.
Yeah, someone who averaged 20 points per game during the season, pretty much you couldn't even play him in the playoffs because he played that bad. Like Sacramento, he was non-existent. And then they says against the Lakers, where they probably needed him a little bit more, he was non-existent. But
Yeah,
I think a lot of people have to understand on the Chris Paul side of things, that kind of saves Golden State a little bit of money because I think they probably got the worst of it in any team in the league in terms of the cap.
yeah. The
Really
Warriors are
tripping.
65 million point eight negative. And then
Mm-hmm.
also, I don't think Chris Paul's salary, his is not guaranteed until next summer. The 30
Yeah,
is like
so
30 million, something like that. So I look at the Chris Paul trade as the same thing with D'Angelo Russell.
mm-hmm.
They just see how it works first half of the season. All Star break is not working, or they feel like it's gonna be a team around All Star break that's gonna need a point guard, and Chris Paul is gonna be the first person they think about because they like people were so confused with Golden State getting Chris Paul because like the fit is not there. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, they can use him as a trading chip like they did for D'Angelo Russell to get Andrew Wiggins, and you see that help the Warriors tremendously.
Exactly.
So if they can use Chris Paul and it works, and they feel like they could use him in the playoffs with a starting lineup or coming off the bench, then okay, that's fine. But look for Chris Paul to probably be traded at the trade deadline so they can get them a big man or a stretch for or some type of bench help around that time.
And not even that though. I think Golden State really thinks they can win the championship. Chris Paul coming on the bench. Golden State always had. I would say back then when they had like Livingston, Iguodala, they always had another facilitator outside of Draymond. And when Draymond comes out the game, they don't really have that facilitator. Or you can kind of look at it as when Steph come out the game and you might leave Clay in. Clay might come
Even
out.
Iguodala too as well. He brought the ball up a lot for them.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
I actually like the move. You look at the Warriors bench. They're gonna have Gary Payton, the second back, a good defender,
Hmm.
alongside probably Chris Paul. You probably want to see that. You probably want to see Kaminga take that next step. Hopefully, Moody played
Man,
pretty good in the playoffs. Moody didn't play that bad, but
Kaminga definitely needs to do something.
yeah, we don't know what's going on. A lot of people looking at Steve Kerr like, why you not playing him?
It's
Maybe
got to be a reason. It's
yeah,
got
it
to be.
has to be a reason. But yeah, basically that cap room, a lot of teams have to make tough decisions. Atlanta, who was looking to trade John Collins for a minute, had to make that tough decision. People say Atlanta didn't get nothing for him, but that's what the new cap thing is now. You just got to make them tough decisions to fill out your roster.
Yeah, I mean, it ain't like John Collins was like the end all be all for the Hawks. The Hawks need a lot more, So
a lot
that
more.
was just one of the many moves that we probably gonna see coming Friday.
Yeah, and let's look at since we're sitting there talking about trades, let's talk about the Boston Celtics acquiring Kristaps Porzingis and a deal that sends Marcus Smart to the Memphis Grizzlies, and in return, the Grizzlies sent them to Boston picks, and they sent Tyus Jones to Washington. So, bro, give me your thoughts on that trade.
I felt like Marcus Smart was the heartbeat of the Celtics. But they really wanted Porzingis, which was a big need for them.
Mm-hmm.
In hindsight, as far as the guard position, they still have Derek White, and they still got Brogdon.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they needed a big who can stretch the floor and play defense. They got Williams, but he been injured. They got Horford, but he's getting older. He wasn't as a consistent shooter. But you bring in Porzingis, he has injury issues. But as far as like when he does play, he's 7'3", could shoot the three, can score in the paint, and he could block shots. So when you going against the Heat and the Sixers, you need somebody like that. And I think they said Porzingis was averaging like at least 25 points a game when he was playing.
Man, the most healthiest season.
Yes. So that was a huge need for the Celtics. That's really what they've been missing. They're losing Marcus Smart. It is what it is. They needed Porzingis more than they needed Smart. But like I said, Smart is the heartbeat. But I feel like Tatum and Brown are older, so now they're gonna have to control the locker room, like Marcus Smart was controlling the locker room. So I think yeah.
No, you go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I will say I thought it was a good move for Memphis. Marcus Smart definitely upgrade for Brooks, and then I feel like the situation going on in Memphis right now, Marcus Smart is that leader they need in that locker room. So I think it's a good move by Memphis.
Marcus Smart was the best thing that could have happened to Memphis this summer. No matter what else they do in free agency, Marcus Smart, all that other stuff that was going on in the Memphis locker room, Smart ain't going for none of that. He not gonna be afraid to come at Ja. He's not gonna be afraid to come at anybody else on that team. So he's definitely gonna be the veteran presence that they need. As far as Washington, they just trying to free up as many draft picks and cap space as they can get. They traded Bradley Beal to the Suns. They got that money off their books. And then they replace him with Jordan Poole, who probably come off the bench, still put up points. Then they got Tyus Jones, who a guard. I really like. I want the Bulls to get Tyus Jones.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Wizards starting this rebuilding process.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got rid of Porzingis. They still got Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma still. I feel like he'll sign back because he can be like the guy on that team to kind of be the number one on their team. So we'll see what Kyle Kuzma does with that responsibility, is like being like the guy. Like I said, you bring in guys like Jordan Poole, and they got other like young players on their team. So Washington starting a rebuilding process. Not a full rebuild, but it's pieces there and there's draft picks and stuff there that they got back.
Yeah, and let's look at the Phoenix Suns for a minute. Obviously they got Bradley Beal in that trade.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant, three of probably best scorers in the league. Like, what you think about that? And DeAndre Ayton too.
See, we thought. I mean, when KD was at the Warriors, like we was like, oh, that's the best offensive team like we've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think KD went to Brooklyn. And you got KD, James Harden, and Kyrie. You like, oh, that's unstoppable 3-headed monster there. Like this, like how do you guard that a game? and that was just a mess. And
Mm-hmm.
then Kyrie get traded. James Harden asked for a trade. Um, and then KD go to Phoenix. So Phoenix, you got CP3, KD, Devin Booker, Aiden. You like, okay, that's a solid team. Then Chris Paul get hurt, DeAndre Ayton don't show up, and it's like, all right, well, that didn't work. So then you take Chris Paul, you trade him, and you get someone who's younger, a better scorer, and probably one of the best scorers in the league. And you put him on a team with two of the other best scorers, if not probably the top five scorers in the league. And now I'm looking at it like, was James Harden, KD, and Kyrie a better three-headed monster, or is it Bradley Beal, Devin? I feel like this Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, KD is like more. KD's older, but this trying to guard them three in one game every night, that's insane. Imagine if they stay healthy and stuff like that. Um, I did think Aiden was gonna get traded so they can fill out their bench. So I don't know what James Jones is gonna do as far as getting the bench. I don't know if he's gonna just sign a whole bunch of undrafted rookies. I don't know. I'm looking at their cap and uh,
Yeah, I know they wanted
they
to.
they 70 million over. Mind you, I don't know trading Chris Paul kind of because Bradley Beal's salary is like around Chris Paul's salary. So uh, I James Jones, he's probably going to be a miracle worker at this point because I'm interested to see how he's going to fill out this roster and also try to get them under the cap because right now it's ugly, real
Yeah, I
ugly.
know I seen something yesterday. Chris Haynes reported they will be hosting private workouts. I think Jabari Parker, Stanley Johnson are some of the
So they're
notable
going to pick up a whole bunch of players that just say
players. Some players they can get for cheap. Mike can
it's
still.
going to have to be cheap, cheap. I don't even think they able to give out vet minimums, and vet minimums is
Yeah,
5 million. And
and
like I
I
said, they
think
70 over. So I don't even know how much I would have to look at the structure as far as how the NBA like finances work. Like do the vet minimums add on to the 70 million in the negative that they already in, or is that 5 million vet minimums money that they could just spend? So
I think I think what they plan is they're probably going to give Aiden another season to see if he's play different under a coach, a defensive minded coach. And maybe if it doesn't work out in the middle of the season, maybe they just trade him and get the
mm-mm.
players they need. Maybe they're just going to see how
Yeah.
it works out. But you can assume that he's really probably not going to get that many touches because I mean you got Bradley Beal, Booker, and Kevin Durant, so
Hmm.
he's going to have to be that glue guy, just take that sacrifice, just get rebounds, and we can see if he can adjust. But yeah, those were all the trades. I think so far we probably going to see more. Um, we're gonna get into free agency right quick. I believe the Houston Rockets have the most cap room right now.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I think they number one.
They got 59 million in cap space,
Yeah, and I
which is
think
a lot. Go sit down. Fruit
and
snacks.
it was a report saying
Fruit snacks on the table.
the Houston Rockets were the top destination for Fred Van Fleet and Dylan Brooks.
Because they got the most money.
But not even that, and then you have to consider too. They have new coach Ime Udoka.
Yeah.
They have a lot of talent, young talent on their roster, and they can certainly be very good. A couple of key veteran pieces, and we hear that possibly James Harden could be going back to Houston.
Mm.
So, give me your thoughts on if he does decide to not sign back with Philly and goes to Houston.
If he go back in Houston, he just want to get paid and party at this point. Because he's not going to win in Houston. Um, they have potential to be a good team because they have a lot of the top draft picks in the last 3 years. So I mean, they'll be a decent team. Are they going to win the playoffs? Probably not. But James Harden would just kind of speed up their rebuilding process at that point.
Mhm.
If he stays in the Sixers, they instant playoff team. They got a new coach Nick Nurse. So it's gonna be interesting. They say he's James Harden kind of favors him a little bit as far as liking his schemes and his offense and approach to the game. So um, you gonna be with the MVP of the league and Joel. Um, we'll see what they do with Tobias Harris. They talking about moving him. They should have never kept him over Jimmy Butler, but that's neither here nor
Yeah,
there. They still got Tyrese Maxey. So I mean, if you Harden, you got Daryl Morey. He was your GM in Houston. He been making a lot of moves surrounding you. So if I'm Harden, best bet is to go back to the Sixers, and because they could win in the East. I mean, it's they can win in the East. The East is up for grabs right now. But like I said, he go to the Rockets. I mean, that's not. You don't make that move and with the intention of like, oh, we're gonna win a championship in Houston. Like, no, that's not it.
and
So
what you think of the Warriors with Draymond Green? Because, like I said, Draymond Green, heart and soul, Golden State, everybody knows it. But at the same time, I can put them further in debt, which I'm pretty sure the Warriors probably don't care at this point because they like.
I mean, I think trading Jordan Poole kind of showed him like, hey, look, we choosing you over him. So I don't think they do that unless they with the intention of trying to keep Dre. Could Draymond get more money on in other teams? Yes, he most likely can get more money than the Warriors can give him. But I can see him signing for like a 3 or 4 year. Um, they say he won 100 mil. I can't see that, but if they do pay it, they put him more under the cap. But it's Draymond. I mean, Draymond's gonna entertain a lot of other teams, but ultimately the Warriors is his number one choice. I think they just have to get the numbers right and the amount of years they're gonna give him, and I think he'll be back in the Warriors uniform.
And I know this kind of has nothing to do with free agency, but there's been a lot of talks with Damian Lillard and the whole Portland situation. His representatives met with the team, general manager, I believe, yesterday, and they basically agreed that they're going to build a contender around him in Portland. So, what is your thoughts on that? Like, do you feel like he should stay? Do you feel like his time in Portland is just up? He just needs to leave.
I wish they would get this shit up already. He's in the same position as Bradley Beal. Like, just let it go. Just let it. I mean, Damian Lillard is the reason why Portland is good.
Loyalty.
Loyal, but he's the reason the team is good. But at this point, what are y'all like? Y'all have yet to really build a team. Y'all had CJ, traded him. Simon stepped up. Y'all went and got Jeremy Grant for defense. Y'all went and got Chauncey Billups, new coach, more defensive minded. And they still, Lillard was hurt majority of the season last year, but it's like, how many more times we gonna miss seeing like Lillard in them playoff moments is like amazing to watch. It's like you gotta have like this year we're gonna finally see Bradley Beal back in the playoffs. So that's gonna be fun to watch. But you gotta have Damian Lillard in the playoffs, man. It's just like must see TV. That shot he hit against Paul George will go down as like one of the greatest like game winners in NBA history. But I just want them to let it go, man. It's like me as a GM was like trade him now so you get something for him instead of just nothing. But if they want him to ride it out his contract until he feel like he ready to retire and just keep trying to build around him, okay, that's fine. But mind you, I mean they just drafted Scoot, but he a rookie. Like we don't know. He's a great scorer, but we don't know what exactly to expect from a rookie. And Lillard already said out loud that he don't want to play or wait on no rookies 2 to 3 years from now. So I was interested to see who they drafted. I think Miller would have been a better pick, but I think the Hornets knew how great Miller is to be 6'9", could dribble, shoot, play defense. You can't really pass up on a wing like that. So I mean, if if they feel like he come off the bench and average like 20 points a game or something, and help the Blazers make that push, then okay, go for it. But I'm just kind of over it. Lillard to the Heat would be like a match made in heaven for him and the Heat because they looking for that second superstar. But any other fits, would kind of be hard. Maybe the Sixers can try to put together a package for him. Um, I don't know if it's too many teams that he can go to. The Heat is probably number one. If the Sixers want to put together a package, they can. Um, if the Bucks want to try to shake up their team, do a sign and trade with Chris Middleton for him and Brook Lopez for Lillard, or, to kind of get them an edge. Like it's a lot of different teams that can throw different packages at them, but ultimately they gonna go wherever Lillard wants to do. So if Lillard tells them a team that he want to go to, I feel like they're gonna take that into consideration because he's meant so much to their franchise since the Brandon Roy era and LaMarcus Aldridge. So we'll see, but I'm just kind of over it. I wish he would get out that team, but
Yeah, he the all-time leading scorer. Team that took a chance on your draft you, so I can kind of understand though. The loyalty.
man,
But
I guess.
but we'll look at a couple other teams. I think with some decisions to make. We'll talk about the Lakers. Austin Reeves is a free agent. I think the Lakers have around $9 million in cap space, so a little bit above it. So they'll be able to match any offer for Austin Reeves. I think Rui Hachimura is a free agent. That he'll probably sign back.
Yeah, I mean the
Yeah.
Lakers are still negative 53 um in the cap. Like you said, they can match it, and I'm pretty sure that number is just gonna go up. So they gonna match Rue and Reeves, but after that, it's like y'all got to figure something out. I don't know. I know Lakers
And
fans don't want to hear that, but I'll trade Anthony Davis. I ain't gonna lie to you.
okay, what do you think Kyrie Irving should do? You think he should go back to Dallas or
Dallas is like his best option right now.
to Dallas?
Him going on the Lakers, the Lakers will have to trade Anthony Davis or do a sign and trade to get Kyrie. There's nobody else on the team you could like. You going for Kyrie? You better hope that he's playing majority of the 82. That's the only concern with teams with Kyrie right now, like his availability. But Dallas is like the perfect situation for him because I mean, we all know Kyrie can score. He a wizard with the basketball, but you got Luke over there who need the ball too. So I mean, that's a two-headed monster that's on a consistent basis is nice. I think Dallas still need that big man. I still think they're trying to get
Mm-hmm.
Clint Capella from the Hawks or trading for another big man out there. Um,
Build some defense around them. They
yeah,
definitely need.
because neither one of them are defensive players. That's just what it is. They can score the ball, but they're a defensive liability, especially on the floor at the
Mm-hmm.
same time. So, like I said, I feel like Kyrie's best situation is Dallas. That's like the best team that he can go to right now, besides the Lakers. But the Lakers would have to put like I said, a hefty package to get Kyrie over there, especially in a sign and trade.
Okay, and what team do you feel like needs to make a move when free agency starts Friday? Like needs to be the most aggressive to take that next step.
I mean, I think you're gonna see the teams that were like just like on the outside looking in as far as getting to the championship. So the Lakers, the Warriors, the Heat, they were in the finals and they felt like they probably was one player away from winning the whole thing. I think the Bucks made they move with the coaching change, but
Mm-hmm.
now Chris Middleton declined to 40 million. So does he take less money and sign back so they can sign Brook Lopez? I think that's going to be
Mm-hmm.
important to watch. See if Brook Lopez leaves because that's a big hole in their team.
40 million though.
Yeah, and also Chris Middleton. I mean, he's like it's like him and Giannis, Batman and Robin. But he had an up and down. He had injuries. So those teams I just named, and then who else? I was just looking at the list. The Celtics they made a big move. If I'm the Celtics, try to round out who's going to be that starting point guard.
Probably
think
Derek White.
probably so. And I'm looking at the Pacers. The Pacers have a lot of cap room, and then they got a lot of tradable players. We'll see if they want to do like a full rebuild. Um, let's see here. The Knicks is another team that they need to do something. I don't know if it's fire Thibodeau
Mm-hmm.
or find somebody else that they can trade for to be on that team. Because the Knicks are one of them teams where it's like they kind of just at like subpar level right now. Like Jalen Brunson was a big, huge get for them, but they need someone else because Julius Randle is not their number one option.
I don't
Brunson,
think Julius Randle should even be on the team. I think his body language spoke a lot in the playoffs.
well,
And
that's another thing you could look at, and then the Grizzlies. I don't think they're gonna be the same team. I mean, they got Marcus Smart, but the Josh situation is so I don't see Memphis making any like big major moves. I think that was the biggest move that they can make. They just have to wait on Ja to come back and see what team they have because they lost Dylan Brooks. Um, I'm looking at the Kings. The Kings was a nice team. I just think they missing like one more good wing. Like if they can go after a Cam Johnson or somebody like that
but
to
we're gonna
and
see if they sign Harrison Barnes back. He is a free agent.
yeah.
Maybe another big, maybe or
They could go
a stretch
bigger.
four,
Yeah.
You know, Sabonis really can't stretch the floor.
Cause,
So
cause, cause they was right there with the Warriors. So yeah, they
mhm.
definitely need big man shooting. If they can go after Miles Turner or somebody like that. Um, Cleveland was a disappointment. Actually,
Yeah.
um, they were good the whole season, the regular season. Then they got in the playoffs and just disappeared. I don't know what the issue is there. They drafted Imani Bates, so maybe that gives them extra
Hmm.
scoring. It's not gonna give them any defense. But yeah, they were surprising.
I
Um,
think too. I've been hearing rumors that Jared Allen has been on the trading block, and I think it kind of makes sense if you factor in they want to let Mobley, you know, kind of grow into what they think he can be, and then
mhm.
Jared Allen, you know, he's a good defender. That's a team. That's something a team
Good
probably would want.
rebounder. Mhm.
But I think his ability, you know, not to create his own shot, you know, kind of hurt Cleveland to a certain extent. You know, Donovan Mitchell did all he could. He was played against a good
Yeah.
defensive team. There's Garland. You know, hopefully he takes the next step. But I think that's what Cleveland really was missing was like a wing defender, another
Hmm.
scorer at the wing. So you know, maybe they
Yeah.
find somebody in free agency, or maybe they will give up Jared Allen to get the necessary
Yeah.
pieces back. But
Yeah.
yeah. So like I said, NBA free agency start Friday. I'm pretty sure you know once that deadline hit, we probably gonna see a whole bunch of madness going on.
Mhm.
Last topic we're gonna get into is talk about the NBA draft recap. Some of the interesting things that happened. Some of the winners and losers. So like we expected, Victor Wembanyama, you know, went number one to San Antonio. You know, they last couple first round. I mean, the first picks they had was Tim Duncan, David Robinson, Brandon Miller to the Hornets. His situation in college, but he was able to you know overcome that, come number two pick. And Scoot Henderson, like we just talked about recently, to Portland. But who do you think? Who is your personal winner of the draft?
I mean, winner, I would say the team that got the first pick, the number one pick. This is the most, I guess, most excited pick since LeBron got drafted. People were saying,
Mm-hmm.
he's a game changer. He's a team changer. They can build around him. That's gonna be his team, like for the next decade or so. Hopefully, injuries, don't like um, delay that. But I mean, I would say they the number one winners. Now after him, you start kind of nitpicking a little bit. I think Miller was a good pick for Charlotte. I think he fit. Scoot, I didn't know if the Portland Trailblazers would even draft him or trade the pick. But Scoot, he a hooper. He can put up buckets. Um, I'm interested to see the two twins. I was watching some of their highlights, and I kind of like those two twins that went back to back. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I want to see how they gonna like progress. Um, So yeah, if I had to pick a winner, of course it's the Spurs. Um, but I felt like I kind of like the Hornets pick too with Miller. I feel like he gonna be good for their team, and I'm also excited to watch the two twins. You got one twin going to the Rockets, is already young core there, and you got the other twin going to Detroit. I feel like Detroit is they racking up on some quality players in Detroit, so
Yeah,
Detroit gonna be
Detroit,
a problem in the next few years.
and they got
I
them a
feel like,
solid coach,
yeah.
Monty Williams.
And I
So
also like, but I didn't understand it was Orlando getting that point guard, even though they got like three other point guards. So I think Orlando gonna be another one of them teams that's gonna be kind of um,
versatile.
doing some signing trades at the free agency because they have point guards they can trade and get like some other quality players because
Hmm.
they have too many forwards, they got too many guards, so they gonna have to shake that up a little bit.
Yeah, I think Orlando's in a place where they're probably just looking like, man, it's Cole Anthony. Our future. Is Jalen Suggs going to be that guy?
But I feel like
And
they like the guy they just drafted over him because he's 6'7". He's a six
yeah,
seven point guard. He has size and he could be a lot more versatile as far as like switching and stuff on defense. So I feel like if they want to make him the guard, then I think Slugs or Cole have to go, or they can just keep all three and
and then you got Markel
have one come
Fultz
off the
too,
bench. Yeah,
who
yeah,
played
Fultz is another
solid.
one.
The last half of the season, but
Yeah, but
they
I can't
also
see
I
them
think
keeping all four of them. They can't keep all four.
and they got Jet Howard too, the son of Juwan Howard. Like a
Mm.
6'7", 6'8", shooting guard who can
Yeah,
really shoot it from range.
yeah.
So
Or
um,
Orlando's another one of the teams that getting a lot of talented players. A
hmm
lot of talented players.
versatile. They're going to be very versatile and all big players. Bobo. They got
Yeah.
Bankero. But
Hmm.
another thing I want to talk about, I think a lot of people need to start realizing too, and this goes in with the cap. Um, some of the draft picks, some of these good teams had like maybe like Golden State or the Lakers. They select their players that are kind of like a little bit older of age, like around 22, 23 years old, and you see the Nuggets had Christian Brown, who was 22 years old himself. So we see a lot of these good teams, trying to find mature players to easily plug
Because
into
of
the
the
team. So
experience. The
yeah,
experience.
so I think with the cap and how that's affecting the roster, and you see the Nuggets, they pretty much got another steal in this draft too. They got a shooter, but you really have to prepare yourself because they might lose Bruce Brown. So you see, like, you're going to start seeing more in the draft. These teams that's like over the cap. They're going to start drafting these players a little bit more experienced. So what you think
Hmm.
about that? You see Golden State picks. They got two. I think they got two good picks with 22, 23 years of age, but
Who
it
did
look like they can.
who got the forward from UCLA?
I think Miami.
I love that pick.
I see
I
when I was
love
watching
that
his
pick.
highlights, he
Yeah,
was falling on the ground, getting loose balls. I'm
yeah.
like, I see why Miami took
I
him.
love that pick for them
I
because
see why Miami
he
took
looked
him.
like a Miami Heat player already. So that was
Man,
one of the picks that kind of caught my attention during the draft when I was watching. I was like watching bits and pieces, but that was
mhm.
one of the picks I was interested to see what Miami was going to do. But he fits like they style of play. I think Golden State picked that guard. Um,
Mhm.
he's a he's a good scorer. I was watching some of his highlights too.
A
They
little bit
needed
older, more
another.
polished. You
Yeah,
know,
they needed another like scorer who could create his own after trading Jordan Poole. So they pretty much got Jordan Poole 2.0 almost. We'll see. Um,
and I think they got another steal too. A guy named Trace Jackson, a big man out of Indiana. He averaged 2010, I think 2-3 blocks a game. They got
yeah,
and the people can and a lot of scouts consider him like a first round pick. Like,
yeah.
and that goes to like show like that's another player that's like 22, 23 years old.
Yeah.
They experience. They feel like they can plug them in because Golden State the last couple of years been drafting players that are like relatively young. So maybe they're just shifting on just getting players they feel like can start playing now a little bit more
I was
mature.
I was confused with the Bulls. You know, I was highly critical of the Bulls because that's our team. But I
They
was
need like a
like,
draft pick.
they traded in the draft to draft like a Tyrus Thomas Jr. or something. Like
We'll
I
talk
didn't
about
get that. But but
a young
then
Luol
okay,
Deng.
right, so I did like that they got the center from UConn as a undrafted rookie. They signed him to like a two-way. I did like that pick because I was watching that championship game with UConn, and you know he was a good big man as far as like hustling. He's athletic, getting a lot of rebounds. That's what the Bulls need. The other guy they drafted, I had never even heard of him, but seeing him, the highlights they showed really didn't show me much. But I know that undrafted
He was
rookie from
good.
UConn, that's somebody the Bulls need on their team. Um, mind you, I feel like they should just trade everybody, but that's my opinion.
And
A lot of people aren't gonna like that, but
that's what I was going to mention. I think the Bulls are setting themselves up just in case they do trade a Levine or DeRozan. They maybe they're just going to decide to just trade them. That's what I really think the Bulls are doing. I think they're really getting young talent, developing them. Because they got the other big Simonovic, who I think is going to be solid. I think they're grooming these players to be ready. Maybe they build
I'm kind of
around.
over them grooming. I just wanted to just
Yeah, I
if
think the
you
Bulls are setting themselves up. You got Dalen Terry, who I feel like the Bulls should consider playing more. Um, I think that you need a little bit of youth in the lineup.
the Bulls need a lot. We're not even gonna get into because we can talk about the Bulls all day long, but
Yeah.
they have a lot of unanswered questions. I would love to see them go get D Rose come off the bench. He out
Mm-hmm.
there just to bring like that veteran presence besides the DeMar in the locker room. Um, but yeah, it's a lot of underrated teams. Like I said, it's gonna be interesting to see what the Pacers do.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
They had
the
a good
Horn,
draft too.
yeah, the Hornets gonna be another team to watch if Lamelo is healthy and they got Miller, and then if they sign Bridges back or PJ Washington, see what they do
Mm-hmm.
there.
They
Um,
got that big man too.
yeah,
Mark
and they
Williams.
drafted Amari Bailey. They drafted Amari Bailey.
Yeah, I seen that.
So
And they got Nick Anderson, I believe his name is Nick Wright.
yeah.
I think one of the players, but he was top 3 coming out of high school. So I think they've been drafting pretty good the last couple of
Mhm,
years. I think they just got to figure out what they're gonna do with some of them pieces. Like maybe you move Rozier, Gordon Hayward.
mhm.
Obviously, Bridges might come back at some point.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I feel like Utah is another one of them teams that's like
yeah,
they have a
Utah
lot of
did
talent.
good.
They have a lot
They
of
did
talent.
good.
They didn't know Larry Martin was going to be an All Star, but he's an All Star. And then they got Kessler, and then you bring John Collins in. He could probably slide to
Hmm.
the three. So Utah is kind of building something there too. We already talked about Orlando with Paulo. They building a lot of talent. Detroit. Um, I don't know what the Timberwolves are doing. They want to stay with these two big man lineup. I don't think it's gonna work. I
I think
think
they're
they
gonna
can.
move. I think they're gonna get rid of Towns. I really
I
believe
feel
that.
like they should get rid of Rudy before Towns though. Like at least Towns can
Uh,
score. Rudy just take up space in the paint at this point.
But I think they probably thinking in their head like, man, maybe this is just Anthony Edwards' team. Let's just build around him. And
Uh,
Naz Reid is a solid. I think is a really good, solid big man on my bench. So it
they
was
trade
good of them
Towns. They better
keeping.
get a quality player back. Plus some draft picks. But yeah,
Yeah, I
Timberwolves is
think.
one of them teams in limbo. I don't know what the Pelicans. I mean, the Pelicans are still gonna be a solid team. I don't know what Zion doing. Zion, we ain't gonna discuss Zion's personal matters right now. But I would love to see Zion back on the court to see how good the Pelicans can really be, because I feel like
Hmm.
he's like unguardable when he plays. Um, what's another team I was just looking at? Uh,
It was a lot of good. It was pretty some
we
decent
talked about
picks.
Portland, Phoenix, Dallas. Oh, the Clippers. They talking about trading Paul George. I kind of agree
Yes,
because both of
yes.
them been injured at the same time for the past 3 seasons. One of them got to go, and it's not going to be Kawhi because it's Kawhi. So,
And I think that's Portland's best chance of getting somebody to play with Dame.
but then Portland would have to. I mean, Portland can try probably get him Simons and
Yeah,
another
I would
big.
say you got to give me Simons and
Jeremy Grant probably
maybe
would have to
yeah,
go.
or
Um,
or Nurkic, they need another big. Like maybe I don't know,
But if you Portland, do you take a gamble on a player that sometimes get injured? Like he's been getting injury prone too. So
or Cam Reddish, like give me another young player, or like maybe, but
they do got Cam.
Matisse Thybulle, or somebody like someone who can make an impact. But
we didn't talk about Brooklyn, but they in rebuilding mode. So I mean,
I think Brooklyn made a lot of good picks. They got another versatile big to go with Claxton. I think Brooklyn focus just need to be shooting. You know, I don't think they got a lot of shooting. Mm-hmm. Cam Johnson, they need to prioritize signing him back. Figure out their point guard situation with Dinwiddie and Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas, maybe you move him. I don't think they got that much confidence in him.
Mm-hmm. Go sit down.
And we can see, and then maybe see what Toronto do. Toronto, an interesting team. Like, are they going to keep Siakam?
They need to give up Siakam and just let Fred right off to the sunset, man. I don't know what they hold. I don't know what team they trying to hold on to. Like, let OG Siakam and all them go, man. Y'all, Kawhi gave y'all a championship. That was the closest that y'all gonna have with this team. There's no superstar on that team. Siakam an all-star, but he's not as consistent. So just if you Toronto sign and trade Fred, trade Siakam, get a whole bunch of draft picks, trade OG. It's every team in the league wants OG. Let that man go. Y'all still got Barnes. Y'all build around him. Stock up on draft picks. And
I forgot they had Scotty Barnes.
Just move on. This team is not going anywhere. Like it's y'all tried it without Kawhi. Y'all gave the team to Fred and Siakam. And y'all got Scott Barnes. It's not working. Just y'all fired y'all coach. Just give it up, man. At that point, OKC is doing a really good job of getting talent.
They have some good draft picks.
Yeah, they got draft picks to like 2031. Like these OKC is just like doing everything right now. Like
Chet Holmgren coming back. They got I think Davis Bertans in a trade. That's another shooter. You know.
OKC is definitely one of those teams that's going to be next few years when they start getting these quality players in the draft with all these draft picks, and then they'll probably trade some of them picks for a good veteran, 1 or 2 veterans, and round out their bench. OKC,
they arguably got the best GM in the league right now. Like I'm not gonna lie, like he makes
he definitely up
good moves.
He definitely up there for sure.
Good moves.
So. It's gonna be an exciting season next season. It was good to see Denver win, see Jokic, MVP player get a ring, and see Jamal Murray get one. I really wanted Jimmy Butler to get one. He was right there.
They just gotta get him for help, man. Like no offense to Bam, but Bam, you can't look at Bam and just say
he's not that second star. He's not that second star.
Yeah, you can't tell him to give you 20. He's a glue guy for a fact, but Miami has failed to. And we know Hero was hurt, but maybe it's time to try to do something to get him some type of help.
Oh, Pat Riley is on the phones now, just putting some stuff. Like if it's one,
they just don't have no real packages they can give up besides Hero. But it's like, what are you going to get in return for him? Like,
Hero, Duncan Robinson, they got players. Matt Strus, they got players they can trade. It's just who are they going to try and get? Damian Lillard should be the number one option. If you want to sneak and try to somehow get Kyrie, but the availability is the issue, I'll take Dame right now over Kyrie Irving. Not talking about skill-wise putting up points, but it's just far as like being that guy that's going to come out and play every night. I'm going for Dame. But the Heat have a lot of options. If it's one team that I'm not worried about in free agency, it's going to be Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Their track record is just too good. It's just too good. It's like that's the thing everybody should be scared of. If the Heat go out and get them another superstar,
don't get me wrong, they did good in the draft again. They got a steal out of UCLA.
Yeah.
Best to see him get a lot of playing time because dude can play.
Yeah, but, for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna see what they do with Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, some of the other guys. They probably gonna sign them back. You know, maybe they gotta get some more size on their team for a fact. You know.
Yeah.
I think a lot of teams are doing that with Jokic, you know, pretty much bullied his way through everybody. Anthony Davis, DeAndre Ayton. Like some notable big mans could even Rudy Gobert. Like man, dude just went up against
I want them to
everybody in
trade
this.
DeAndre Ayton so bad.
I think that's their only. I feel like that's their only chance of building out their roster. Like that's literally the only chance they have.
Well, we gonna find out Friday because
Yeah,
they
anything can
talking
happen.
they talking about
Anything can
keeping
happen.
him. So I see a lot of undrafted rookies on the Suns roster this year. That's I'm interested to see how that's gonna go.
And then maybe somebody becomes available with these signings. You never know. You sign a couple players, another player might become available. So, or signing, you're gonna see a couple sign and trade. So it might be. You
It's
never
gonna be
know.
interesting with how the Lakers like. We all know the Lakers' two top priorities is Reeves and Rue. After that, that's what I'm curious is what the Lakers are gonna do after that. Do they still have enough money to get Fred Van Fleet? Do they try to do a sign and trade to get Fred? Or do they try to go after another guard like you said, Terry Rozier? He should be out there for trade.
And you can't count on Golden State. Like after the Draymond Green, I think they still need to get another big. So a lot of these players, and especially the teams in the Western Conference, they looking at Denver like, yeah, it's time to.
That's why these signing trades are so huge because this whole money cap space thing. Like
You're gonna
that's
see a
why
lot of signing
you see
trades.
that's more popular as far as like when it comes to free agency because now like okay, the team that you're going to they're technically you're going to be on their team, but now the money wise is easier for teams to like move players, and then you could if the salaries don't match up as well, you could also add on. You have to add on another player to catch up to this one player's contract. So
Or you can add a third team as well. So
yeah,
third team,
third
three
team.
team deals.
But
Like,
that makes it more difficult as far as like because that's a lot of moving parts. And
but you see with the Porzingis trade, Bill or
yeah,
Phoenix, like
yeah,
that was the only way Boston was going to get Porzingis. Like it would have
yeah,
been hard to do a straight up trade to get him. They probably would
yeah.
have to give up a little bit more, but
Hmm.
at least if you add, you Boston, you really pretty much didn't have to. You gave up smart, but you didn't really give up too much. You got two
Yeah,
first round picks in Porzingis. Like that's a win. So,
yeah. I mean, you know the two things that excite me about the NBA is like the draft and draft night and free agency because that's when stuff get kind of it's a shift. The last couple years free agency, man, it's been a lot of crazy moves. So I think this is gonna be another one of those. Like, so I'll just call out some shockers. So a shock for me it would be if Draymond signs to somebody else. Lillard gets traded. If the Suns trade Aiden after they just said they're gonna keep him, that would be a shock. Um, if the Heat land another superstar besides Damian Lillard, that would be a shock to me.
and like I said, this new CBA thing is interesting because now teams who are probably under the cap and need help to take that next step,
Yeah.
you're going to see a lot of these probably either signing trades. You're going to just see a lot of these teams just make these
So
moves, make these
yeah,
shocking moves to free up room. Like,
yeah.
you never know.
So don't be surprised. Anybody who watching or whatever, don't be surprised if you see Houston, Utah, San Antonio, Indiana, and the Pistons just sign
Orlando,
like some good
yeah.
free agents. They have the most cap space. So don't be surprised you see them teams like, damn, why they trying to get Austin Reeves 150 mil? Because they have the money to do that. And then if a team really wants Austin Reeves, then now they got to match up the salaries to trade for him. So now if say Houston want to get Austin Reeves, but they know they don't really need him and they rebuild mode, they get these players these high contracts so they can trade. So when they trade them later on, they can get more back.
And a lot of those teams, like you said, the Pistons, Rockets, Orlando, San Antonio, they kind of got young talent. So a lot of they
Yeah,
coming, they got coaching
yeah.
change. Some of them made coaching
But
changes.
that's my point. Like if you see a team like if you see San Antonio give Draymond Green, for example, like 150 mil over the next 4 years, you like Draymond does not deserve 150 mil 4 years, but San Antonio know that it's gonna be a team at trade deadline around the All Star break that need a Draymond Green on their team and be like, man, we got to trade for him. But now since they didn't get Draymond in free agency, they got to trade 2 players for him because his salary is at 150 million.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, watch out for a team like Sacramento who don't sign Harrison Barnes back and will probably replace him with Draymond Green. Yeah. So man, it's a lot of and Draymond Green. I think they did say his agent will be taking meetings, so they gonna be looking around.
Yeah,
but
the Warriors the number one choice though. That's just what like the Warriors in their meeting, like the numbers would. It's not even so much the numbers. Like it would have to be like a disrespect for me for Draymond to be like, I'm not signing back. But I think he's willing to take less, not too much less, like not getting like a 3-year $60 million. That's just kind of disrespectful. Because some of these players, like, that's not even up to his level, getting like at least $80 million over 3 years or whatever. So he probably be around that 100 range, 100 4 years, maybe $20 million a year. Or they could like dumb it down, give him a good 90 for about, I guess I would say $15 million a year. That's, I mean,
a lot of these teams are just trying to get better, man. Like it's, I think this has been a long time since like the league kind of been wide open.
Yeah,
even though Denver just won, the championship, a lot of teams feel like they're not that far off. From they can probably take them out. Like I said, Denver could lose Bruce Brown, so that could hurt them.
That would be a big loss. But I don't think Denver can pay him as much as he's gonna get paid.
Yeah, they can't match. And you got a team like Houston, San Antonio, these teams, Detroit, that can offer him more money.
Yeah,
that he probably ever got before. So it's going to be real interesting to come Friday.
It's going to be a good episode after.
And watch out for Kyle Kuzma. I think it's going to be interesting to see what he does. I think that's my sleeper free agent because I think he can go to somewhere decent.
I don't know if I have a sleeper free agent.
I say and Van Fleet. They're really going to set the market. I feel like.
I really want to know where Fred is going to pick.
Or if Middleton and Brook Lopez choose to go different routes.
Ooh.
Or one of them stays and one of them. Either way, if they lose either one of them, if Milwaukee lose, either one of them is going to affect them.
I think if the Heat miss out on a superstar and they can get like a Brook Lopez on their team, I think that would be huge for the Heat.
Oh,
If they throw Brook Lopez in with the team they got already, that would be huge. The Heat will be unstoppable in the East. They get Brook Lopez.
They just missing a couple pieces or like a piece. Like Miami not
that
far
or that one superstar. We never know.
Yeah, but I'm going to end the show off right here. I want to thank everybody, for watching. Give and Go is back. We're going to come with episodes. We're going to come with episodes, a lot now. We back full time now.
We definitely got to get a guest for after free agency. We got to get some guests on here. And
that's no problem. But free agency starts Friday. Friday free agency starts, so we know it's going to be a lot of trades and just craziness going on. I can already feel it coming. Summer League coming soon, so definitely talk about
next
that.
week. Yep.
Yeah, so we definitely get to see Victor, play against Brandon Miller. I think that's the first game of the Summer League. So man, that's a show right there.
For sure.
But yeah, like I said, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Give and Go, the NBA show. We're back.
Like, share, and subscribe. Comment.
Subscribe.
Definitely leave comments. We love reading the comments.
Yeah, please leave comments. Maybe some of y'all want us to talk about a little bit more, or just thoughts on what we just talked about.
Or if you want to be on the show.
Yeah, if you want to be on the show too, definitely let us know. But like I said, thanks for tuning in and from the end of the show right now.
All right.